rather than just having our form filled with a bunch of text boxes that our users can just put information in manually, we want to present them with some predetermined set of choices, and this is all based on good planning for our websites. And so we want our users to be able to select one or more predefined choices independent of each other. And a checkbox usually makes sense for this. And a checkbox essentially is just a box that users can click to add or remove a check mark, enabling users to select or deselect that option. Now, to reinforce this, we are going to be once again working with our Lakeland Reads website, and we are going to put in some check boxes in case our customers may wish to reserve more than one room at Lakeland Reads B&B. So let's go ahead and input that code into for our check boxes and see how the changes look. Here are the steps we will be performing in this section. And you see how the text boxes will be displayed in our form here. Let's get to coding by returning to our contact.html file in our text editor to get to working. Since we're going to be adding those text boxes for our check boxes to our rooms to reserve area, let's go ahead and go to the legend element in the room box field set. And we're going to enter 4 pairs of label tags on separate lines there. We'll go right below here. Now we'll go ahead and put our open and close tags here for our labels. And since we know we're going to be putting information there, we'll go ahead and put a blank space in between there. Now it said to add 4 pairs. Well, 1, 2, that didn't work. 2, 3, and 4. Now let's go back up to our top one. What we need to do here is we are going to enter in a name value pair in our label element, and this first one is going to be for sun, so let's go ahead and enter that one in, and we're going to repeat for the remaining 3 label elements that we created using the values for our name value pair of read, tree, and garden. So I'll go ahead and enter the sun here. You can see how we put our label pair, our name value pair, so that this will be represented as a sun. Then we'll go down to the next one, and we want this one to be labeled as read. This one here will be tree, and then our final one, we will put our last name value pair for garden. Alright, so we've got the basis of our labels created. Now let's go ahead and move on to the next step. Now, because a checkbox should always precede its label text for optional usability, we're going to put in our label element, we're going to put our tag in for our first label element, which is for sun, and we're going to put that tag in, and then after we put that tag in, we're going to put a new line in, and then we're going to type the text value sunroom. So I'll show you how that's done now. So let's go ahead and put our code there, and you can see that we've selected our type to be checkbox. And because our users do not enter text in a checkbox, use the value attribute to specify text to be submitted with the form if the checkbox is selected. Now we're going to repeat the same step for our read room, tree, house, and garden room. So we'll go ahead and I'll first put in the text we want displayed for our sunroom before we move on. So I'll go ahead and put the label text in now, sunroom, and that's what will display next to our checkbox. So let's do the same thing for read now. Put our input element in, and then we will put in our label. I've got an extra space here, I'll get rid of that real quick. And do the same thing for tree and garden. go. Now all of those have been completed, so we have our checkboxes in place. Now mine looks a little different than the text if you're following along in the e-text, because I went ahead and put our other name value pair, name is room, in each of our 4 input tags. So if you haven't done that yet, go ahead and do that now. Then I want you to go ahead and save your work, and then we are going to return to our Cascading Style Sheet LL form. Now that we're back in our Cascading Style Sheet LL form, let's go ahead and create a style rule that adds space between each label and the checkbox that follows. So we're going to go ahead and create the style rule for the label elements within the element of the ID room box. So we'll come down here, we'll just put it here at the bottom, as we're going to be using hashtag room box. And we'll add our style rule there. I don't need that space there. You see that we have our room box, and we've set the margin to right 25 pixels. Go ahead and save that. Now let's go back to our contact.html file in our web browser, refresh it, and look at how our checkboxes are displayed in the web page. And while we're there, we can click each checkbox just to select it and deselect it, just to get a feel of the work that we just put into it. Okay, now that we're back on our page, haven't refreshed it yet, but we know we did work in the rooms to reserve areas, so let's go ahead and hit the refresh button and see what happens. And there are checkboxes with the labels we created, and our checkboxes are working. So if the Lakeland Reeds customer needed to select multiple rooms, they could. That's it for creating checkboxes, so good work guys. Now we're going to move on to the next section, which is creating option buttons.